Woodturners Journal. I'm Jerrod, and today I'm going to be attempting to make a coffee mug. People make mugs all the time with kits, and they usually have the inserts in them and the steel, and that's the way to go. But I'm going to try to attempt this without any kind of insert. I think I'm going to try to do an epoxy finish on it. I've never done it before. We'll see how that goes. But I got a nice piece of black walnut, a little chunk, and it looks like it's kind of the perfect size to attempt this. So I'm going to try to do it, and let's get to it. Here we are. I got it mounted on the lathe, and now I'm just going to kind of round it out. Okay, let's try to hollow it out. Okay, here we are. I have it mounted to the chuck, and I'm going to drill, and I marked the tape. I could go no further than past that point. So I'm going to start hollowing it out. There it is. Now I could take my chisel to it, start hollowing. So sanding the bottom of this is going to be pretty difficult. So I glued this little piece of sandpaper disc to the bottom of basically a dowel rod, and I'm going to go straight in and try to sand the bottom that way. Let's try it. I'm going to wipe it off with some mineral spirits. See what we got going on here. Yeah, that's looking nice. So I'm planning on putting food grade epoxy on this to help protect it, make it waterproof, and that way I could drink out of it. And tung oil isn't necessarily, I don't have pure tung oil, so it's not necessarily food grade, but I think I'm going to go ahead and put tung oil on it, just like 1 or 2 coats, just to help bring out the grain in the wood and protect it, because this wood, it's been sitting around a while and it wants to crack a little bit. So I just want to put a couple coats to help it, you know, kind of preserve it. And then we'll put the epoxy over it and I should be fine. Okay, we're back, and that's drying. And like I said, I'm only going to do a couple coats on it just to help protect it. I'm still waiting on the epoxy, the food grade epoxy, to come in the mail. So that could dry for a couple days. And meanwhile, I have to make a handle, and I started sketching it out. I couldn't really find anything, like I wasn't sketching it the way I wanted it, and really all I want is just a regular handle for it. So all I did was put it on there, trace it, and I think I sized it up to it. It looks perfect for the mug. So that's what I'm gonna do, and now I'm gonna take it over to my scroll saw and cut it out. Here we are. I'm gonna now take it to the sander and just kind of smooth it out a bit. That looks pretty good. Now I'm gonna try to attempt something. I don't know if it's gonna work. We'll see. I'm gonna take my I'm going to take a router to it and try to round out these edges. So the only way I could figure out doing this is I'm going to take the scrap block that I had and super glue this on the very end. That way I could clamp it to something and then take the router around and then do the inside as well and flip it over and do the other way. That is the only way I could see, and then I could take it to the table saw really fast and cut it off when I'm done. So I'm going to try that. That's the only way I could actually see doing this. So let's do it. Put some super glue on the ends here. It's actually CA glue. Alright, I'll let that dry up a moment. When I come back, I'll have it mounted and we'll take a router to it. Okay, here we are. This is going to be a little tricky. I'm using a 3/8 round over bit for my router, and I did a little test piece. It seems like the right size, but this is kind of a narrow area. Let's try it. A little sanding, and that's going to look really good. Okay, so I sanded the handle down. I hand sanded it all down, then I cut it off of the block that I glued it on. It looks pretty good. The next thing to do though is I have this locked, and I actually learned this from all you woodworkers out there should know Sam Malouf. I watched a video of his a while ago, and this is how he did his rocking chairs. Basically, I have to round this part out to match here so I can mount it on, and so it's time consuming, but the best way to do it is keep on until it is completely shaped to that shape. Sand it to the shape of that. So I'm going to keep doing this, and when we come back I should have it sized up. It's going to take me a while, so I won't bore you with that. Okay, we're back, and I attached the handle. It looks pretty good. I had it all sanded down. I attached it, and I didn't take off this piece yet because I wasn't sure how I was going to do the epoxy, but now I think I should take it off and then apply the epoxy with it off. So that's how I'm going to do it. So we'll just take this off really fast. So I'm going to try to use, like I said, I've never done this before. I'm using a product called Max Clear HP, and it's supposed to be a crystal clear food grade epoxy, and they had pictures of it used on other wood mugs and things like that online I saw, so I thought it should work pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this, and it's one part of the curing and 2 parts of the resin. Okay, we're back, and it's dried. It's been about 24 hours, and there's drips on the bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and put it on the lathe and just lightly take a chisel and scrape these off. And then basically the first layer is called a fill layer, and I'm going to sand it down with 320, and then I'm going to put on another layer to really make it glossy and smooth. But so far it's actually looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the epoxy, so we'll see how it all comes out at the very end. But let's take it to the chisel here and get these little drips off of here. Just lightly sanding, trying to get any kind of bubble and imperfection out. Make it smooth. All right, we're back. We're sanded, and I wiped it all off. It's smooth, looks pretty good. And just like before, I'm going to put another coat on. And I'm not going to do the handle this time. I'm going to do the inside and the outside, and maybe the bottom. And then after it dries, I'll do the handle tomorrow. So this is the final coat. And there it is. We'll let that dry another day. Here we are, it's complete. It took a few coats of the epoxy, and to tell you the truth, it works perfect. I took it camping with me, and I was drinking coffee out of it and the whole week. The epoxy, though, is very difficult to work with the way that I did it. I put it on, and then I would sand it to 350, and then I would put on another layer, and then I try to sand it to 400, and then another layer in 600. And it really wants to run because I have to hold it up straight up, or I can't really tilt it or do anything. And it wants to run. Even when I tried the last coat I tried to do, and that's when I got the best results, I kind of did a wiping. Like I put it on like you would do any kind of like tung oil or anything like that, and I try to put it on and then wipe it off to put on a thin layer. Even then, it went on smooth, and then it made it really rough. So this was the best result. I end up at the end, I end up wet sanding it with 600, and then I actually used a car buffing polish to try to get it shiny and smooth, and then I waxed it. It came out really nice, but it's you can't really tell, but it's not exactly perfect. You could still see like there are some slight run marks and everything else in there. So next time around, watch for, I'll be so while waiting for that one, I ended up I made two of these. One's bigger, but it's kind of drying right now. But this is made out of zebra wood and black walnut trim, and it's a bigger coffee mug. This one only holds 8 ounces. This, I haven't measured it yet, but it seems way bigger. And the other one I made is a lot taller. But I tried to see if just the rubbing on motion would work, and it didn't, so it's still pretty hard. Tune in next time. I'm going to try to make another one of these mugs, but I think I'm going to get a rotating drying system, and I think that's going to be obviously the best way of doing it. I just need to get one, and that way as it dries it'll slowly be rotating and there won't be any run marks. Hopefully we'll try that out. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel please, and check out my website woodturnersjournal.com. Thank you.